the know, just come watch the show to know what to do. Just jump in the queue, it's down to you. So what you gonna do? All in the queue, it's hella to you. All in the queue, just check out the view. All in the queue. To be in the know, just come watch the show to know what to do. Just jump in the queue, it's hella to you. So what you gonna do? All in the queue, it's hella to you. All in the queue, it's check out the view. All in the queue. All in the queue, it's hella to you. All in the queue, just check out the view. All in the queue.
One thing for sure and two things for certain is I'm never going to hear you out if what I'm hearing is stupid. I'm not going to hear that. I'm not going to receive that. That's not my ministry. A lot of y'all sit and give too much of y'all time and effort to people who don't deserve it. Why would you be listening to somebody telling you that 2 + 2 is 92 when you know it's not? That is a waste of my time. It's not of the kingdom. It's not. And I would not subject myself to foolishness, okay? Because I don't like to consider myself to be foolish, so I don't want to sit with it. No, it ain't nothing we can do. We done talking. I'm done talking. I'm done listening as well. Yeah, so I don't know who needs to hear that. I hope it reaches you and I hope it touches your spirit. Stop entertaining foolishness. Because people will start seeing you as foolish or somebody to be played with. And I don't like to be played with. Go play Atari. Go play some spades. But don't play with me. All right, love you. Bye. One thing.
All right. It's your girl Super. How y'all doing this evening? I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that your day was lovely and productive. I hope that you learned something today. And if you didn't, I hope you taught somebody else something today. Today, like I said, if you're looking at the title of today's live, it is Black Author Spotlight. We are doing Black Author Spotlight. Just like I said, every month we will be highlighting a Black author. Last month we did Roger Cook and his book Parallel Rooms, which is available on Amazon for purchase, and it's only $10. If you want to see that live, please go back on my channel and look for the thumbnail that says Parallel Rooms. Also, today we have a great author. And I know that there's lots of things going on, and I want to thank everyone that has tuned in. If you don't mind, like, share, and subscribe. Let everybody know that All in the Queue is on, talking about a Black author. I want to start supporting these Black authors because being able to publish independently is something that we can do now. But it takes us to support the authors, right? Let me speak to everybody that is speaking. What's up, Jim Carter? Hey, Dave Bryson, thank you for joining us. If you're in the bushes, feel free to speak because you can, because we all grown and you should be able to comment wherever you want. What I'm going to do right now is I am going to read the bio for the author that we are about to bring up, and then we are going to have a great conversation centered around this awesome book. Let me find the thumbnail. I'm going to ask you guys if you all can hear me. Let me know. I want to make sure that you guys can still hear me in the comments, even while I have the thumbnail up and I read this bio. Give me a 2 2 in the chat if you can hear me still. And if you can, I'm going to start reading the bio. Just somebody, anybody. As soon as I see a 2 in the chat, I'm going to start reading this bio. Yes, sounds good. Okay, good. All right. So this is Miss Seniqueca Chase. In the wake of unimaginable loss, Seniqueca Chase chose not only to grieve, she chose to fight, to build, to carry forward. As the mother of Katelyn, her love has become living legacy through Katelyn Cares Inc., a nonprofit she founded to transform memory into mission. From the outset, Seniqueca refused to let her daughter's spirit fade into silence. On the Katelyn Cares Inc. website, she recalls Katelyn was a silly, energetic person who would give you the shirt off her back. Her laugh made you laugh. Her smile made you smile. Her energy and her goofiness was and is unmatched. Katelyn Cares, with that memory as her compass, Seniqueca stepped into her role not just as a grieving mother, but as a community leader, change agent, and source of hope. She leads the organization as CEO, designing it to be a hub of healing, support, education, and activism. Through Katelyn Cares Inc., Seniqueca channels her maternal love into community uplift and outreach, creating spaces for others who have lost children to connect, heal, and find purpose. Youth family programming inspired by the values Katelyn embodied, advocacy and awareness, ensuring that her daughter's story sparks meaningful conversations about grief, justice, and collective care. Her journey is a testament to the power of love as a foundation for change. Rather than allow her pain to be buried, she cultivates it into action, letting her daughter's light continue to shine. By turning love into legacy, Seniqueca ensures that Katelyn's name lives on, not just as a memory, but as a force for transformation in others' lives. And Miss Chase's Seniqueca's daughter is the picture that is in the middle of the thumbnail. And so we are going to be talking about the book. The book is on the far right, and it is titled Katelyn's Like. If you're listening to me, please like, share, and subscribe. Katelyn's Like can be found on Amazon. You just type in Katelyn's Light. Katelyn is spelled Katelyn apostrophe S, light. The book, paperback book, is only $20. It's only $20. You spend that on lunch. And if you have a Kindle, it's $9.99. So you can purchase it for your Kindle or in paperback for $20. And we need to support our Black authors. So it can be found on Amazon. All right. And with that being said, we are going to bring up Miss Seniqueca Chase. Some other claps. Hold on, child. Let me, because you know I got to bring my guest up correctly. I can't even hear that. That's what I'm talking about right there. Okay. You brought the crowd with you. I couldn't hear the first crowd. I said that must be way in the back now. I got to figure out what's going on my soundboard. Okay, this is Miss Seniqueca Chase, and it is her book that we are talking about this evening. Seniqueca, what I want you to do is, today I do understand that today is the anniversary of your daughter's passing, and so if you would please, if you don't mind, if you would let us know what happened to your daughter.
Okay. Katelyn, she was a single mother. She had 2 young boys, and her brother had came into town, and she was like, "Let's go out. Let's go have a drink. I got a babysitter." She happy to be out. Her brother had stayed in Terre Haute. He came up for the weekend. And he was like, no, sis, I don't want to go out. That's not my scene. We could just stay here. But because Caitlyn had a babysitter, she was able to get out. She went to a local bar, Coach's Corner in Hammond on Kennedy Avenue. And she got into an altercation with a young man. And Katelyn's mouth was very reckless. Her mouth will hurt you worse than her putting her hands on you. And he couldn't take what was coming out her mouth, and he shot her. She bled out on the scene, and she's no longer with us now.
You know, these conversations are very difficult because you don't. I really don't want to be disrespectful, but I want to know. You know, what was that call like? What happened on that night for you? What were you doing? What was that call like? What did you do?
And to be, the crazy part is I had talked to Caitlyn when I was on my way home from work because I had worked second shift and I was getting off, driving home from Bolingbrook. And she called me. She was like, my brother here, we getting litty, we doing this, we doing that. And I was like, girl, you not doing all that. Your brother probably somewhere sitting off in the cut. You probably drinking. I said, but whatever. And so I came home. I took my shower, got ready to lay down. I get a call from one of my associates on Facebook Messenger. And I'm like, she talking about one of your children, one of your girls was shot. And I'm like, what are you talking about? My kids are at home. And she was like, T said one of your kids got shot and it's not looking good, but he not sure which one. And I was like, girl, whatever. I hung up the Facebook Messenger, and then I'm sitting there like, did one of my kids get shot? My mind is running. Then my phone rings again, and I look at the call ID. It's my son. And in my mind, I'm like, oh shit. I get up, I answer his call, and when he just said, Mom, I could feel the despair and pain in his voice. I was like, what is it? Where are you? And I'm trying to get myself together. I'm leaving out of the house. I got on coat, shoes, no pants. I'm just going. Then I had to realize, hold on. I had to backtrack, get myself all the way together. And I get to where they are. And they one person had told me that they was taking her to St. Catherine's. And I was like, why are they going to St. Catherine's Hospital when St. Margaret's is closer? But they were telling everybody that they were taking her to St. Catherine's because they didn't want the crowd to follow to where she was at. So I'm still talking to my son, and he's getting into it with the police because they telling everybody to stand back. And he telling them, you need to be worried about what's going on with my sister. Don't be worried about what we doing. And I get to the hospital. He's sitting in the waiting room, him and two of his friends. And I walk in. I was like, what's going on? He was like, we just waiting to hear. So I said, okay, I'm going to step out. And I stepped out and I called my sister, who stays in Indianapolis. And I'm like, yo, Caitlyn got shot. They said it's not looking good. I'm here at the hospital. We don't know nothing yet. As I'm standing there talking to her, is two officers already standing outside. And another officer walks up. And he says to them that is her family here. And they say her brother is here and three other gentlemen. We don't know their relationship. So I tell my sister, hold on. I said, because I think they're talking about Caitlyn. And so I interject. I said, her mother is standing right here. They didn't hear me. They kept talking. So I said it again. And then the officer walked over to me. He was like, who are you referring to? I said, whoever they just brought out of that ambulance right there. I said, if it's Caitlyn Golden, I'm her mother. And then he looks at me and he goes, to reach out to me. And he tells me that she got into an altercation and she got shot and she bled out on the scene. She didn't make it. And so he went to go try to console me. And I'm like, don't fucking touch me. I'm trying to get myself together so I can go tell her brother that his sister is no longer here. And I told him, I went back in, I said, Andre, I said, she didn't make it. So then he's all irate. He's telling me, what the fuck you mean she didn't make it? And I said, she didn't make it. I said, Andre, when the ambulance pulled off, I said, was the lights on? He said, no. I said, she was gone then, baby. I said, she didn't make it. So he was all irate. He's arguing and cussing and fussing with the police. Then he's walking off. And I'm like, somebody please corral him, because I don't need him going to jail because he angry and upset. So the officer, he walks over to me. He said, what is it that I can do for you? I said, I need to see my child. So he was like, let me go check with the hospital, with the staff, and I'll come back and let you know. So I guess they wanted to clean her up or whatever. So then I was allowed to go to the back to see her. And it was just so unreal to just see my child just laying there lifeless, not moving. And she always was worried about her hair. She had that real fine thin hair. She was always worried about it being out of place. So I was fixing her little flyaways, and I kissed her on the forehead. And I told her that, Mommy's sorry that she couldn't have been there to help you. And as I'm in the back, my phone goes off. It's my son asking me, Mama, where are you at? I said, I'm in the back with your sister. He was like, come get me, come get me. And against my better judgment, I sent somebody to go bring him to the back. And he rushes into his sister, and he's doing the same thing I was doing, fixing her flyaways. And he's telling her, I'm so sorry, sis. I should have went with you. If I'd have went, maybe you would have still been here. And then he broke down. I looked over at my fiance. I was like, get him up and take him out of here. I said, I can't take all of this right now. I can't. Because then now I'm thinking, I got to tell my grandson that they no longer have a mother. At that time, they were 5 and 2. So I'm like, how do you explain to a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old that mommy's not coming back? Yeah. It was a lot, but we left the hospital. I went to pick up my grandkids from her house, and I brought them back home with me. And I explained to them, the 2-year-old, he really, he didn't really get what I was saying. But the 5-year-old, his demeanor and everything changed. It was just his whole life was gone because his mom was all he knew.
And so how old are they now?
They are now 8 and 12. They both literally just had birthdays. All their birthdays are back to back. August, September, and October.
Wow. You just like me. Like me. The girls are in March and my son is in April. So, and I'm in March too. So all the girls are in March and my son is in April. And then their fathers was in June. So we all were like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Right? And I'd be like, man, I can't catch a break. That's how I used to be. What ended up happening to the person who did this?
Well, Stephen Todd, he eluded police. He was on the run for 6 months. He actually had got arrested in Chicago. But before his prince came back, he had outbonded out. And he went to a little small town in California where he was working at a Metro PCS. And that's where the U.S. Marshals caught him getting off work. Like he had just killed my daughter 6 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
My condolences go out to you and your whole family. Like I told someone about my sister, it never goes away. There's always something missing. At least it feels that way for you because, that's your daughter. So it's always going to be something missing. It's nothing that, anybody's going to be able to say to change that. And, I just want to give my condolences to you and again, commend you for your strength and for your ability to move on and console others. And with that, I want to go into talking about the down the bottom. You see scrolling the website CaitlinCaresInc.com. I'd like to go into before we talk about the book because you made this nonprofit after, right? Um,
Yes.
if you could go about telling us um, what that entails, I'm going to bring up the website. You can go ahead and talk.
Well, I was sitting at the table talking with my older granddaughter, and I was like, I got to do something. I got to keep Katelyn's name relevant. I was like, so I thought about a foundation. First, we thought about like maybe a lip gloss line or something. I was like, nah. I said that ain't gonna be. That's not where I want what I want to do. So then we came up with Caitlin Cares Inc. And I geared it. It's a nonprofit that I geared towards single mothers, 26 and under, and I just wanted to give back to them. I wanted to help them in any way that I could, whether it be with back to school supplies, household items, whether they needed Thanksgiving or Christmas help. I just wanted to be where my daughter would be because I just kept telling her, you just keep bringing home strays. Why do you keep bringing these people? You just keep bringing home strays. Is everybody that she socialized with, if they needed help or they needed a place to stay, she just always welcomed them. And I just wanted to give back. And so we started Caitlin Cares Inc. Our first thing we did was a book bag giveaway. We started with 49 book bags. And I was like, okay, that's not bad. And they were full of school supplies. And we had the whole, like the little picnic thing where the kids, they had bouncy house, they had face painting, they had hot dogs, hamburgers, Polishes, just the works. And this year, our book bag giveaway, I gave away over 400 book bags full of school supplies. And it was just overall a wonderful turnout. And each year, I feel that it's getting bigger and better. And I'm just going to keep moving to keep it going.
Okay. And the I just went to the website and let me see. I'm gonna try to add it to this broadcast so people can see what the page looks like. And so this is the page here. Um,
Yeah.
so look at this website. Maybe try to see how you can support. There's loads of pictures here. I see pictures of her sons and her. And so, you know, it's Christmas time. Let's all see how we can support this organization and help touch some more single mothers. It's a place here where you can sign up for updates and everything. The most important thing we can do is be in support of this book. And so I'm hoping that you all would go to this website and support. Also, go to Amazon, purchase the book, right? That's the first step. That's the first thing that could help. And then go check out the website and see, what they have coming up, events that you can help maybe support and do. I know that Cara, she also does Christmas baskets and things for the mothers. And so let's see how we can support this organization because when she spoke at Cara's event, she spoke about how she is also a mentor to single mothers and they're able to call her. They're able to call her and talk with her and, just be able to um, get some things off of their chest. I remember when I was a young single mom, I only had one child, but boy, I used to be stressed out to the max. Where was you? Damn, Stacey. Okay. I mean, I know I can help some folks now, but I needed a Seniqueca then, honey. Um, and so then you move from that into your book? How did the book come about?
You know, a lot of the people around me were losing their kids to senseless gun violence. And one of the mothers, she told me, I just want to say thank you for teaching me to be strong when I didn't even know I was going to have to be. And I was kind of puzzled when she said that. And I was like, okay, I was just doing what I felt that I needed to do to get the word out about getting this guy called who killed my daughter. So I was sitting on my front porch while I was off work during the summer. And I was like, I have a lot to say. I said, and maybe what I say, it might help somebody else do be able to get through their grief. And so I was sitting and I was talking into my iPad, and I was talking, seeing what I wanted to say, and then I was putting it into Chat GPT, and they, you know, they always want to suggest things and they want to change it. I was like, no, this need to be raw. I said, because this is how it happened. There's no sugarcoating what happened here. I was like, this need to be raw cut, no sugarcoating. I don't want to. And it was hard when I wrote the first chapter. You know, I was telling, more or less telling about Katelyn, and it looked like kind of hurt because I had to do it in the past tense as
Mm,
opposed to the present.
right.
But I was like, okay, I got that part down. And then I was reading bits and pieces of it to my grandsons. Her oldest son, Demarion, he didn't want to hear anymore after I was reading it. But Makai, he sat there and I read the whole book to him. And he said, Granny, he was like, you wrote that about mommy? I said, yes, baby. I said, and about us and the things that we endured. I said, and I feel that our story can help somebody else. So it was a process, but I was consistent and I just didn't give up. I kept adding things, changing things. And then when I thought I was finished and I was proofreading, and I was like, nope, I didn't put in there about this. I didn't put in there about that. So then I was like redoing chapters and stuff. I know my oldest granddaughter, because I'm not real computer savvy with all these,
Yeah.
changing the cover and everything, because the cover for the book actually was something totally different. But they kept giving me a hard time with it. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna change it. I was like, because I just feel that I know you tired of me saying, well, they saying this now about the cover, because every time they would send me something and the cover needs to be changed, and I'll be looking at her like, oh, I know she's tired of me. But
And
yeah,
so
it was.
what were some of the obstacles with the cover that they wanted you to change?
They kept saying that the dimensions weren't right, and then when I changed the dimensions to what they said, then it still wasn't right, and then the wording was this, it wasn't that, and I was like, OMG. I was like, this ain't nothing but the devil trying to stop me from putting this book out. I was like, so I got one better. I said, I'm gonna change the cover. And when I changed it, I didn't have no problems. And I did that cover by myself. And I was like, I like the other one better, but
Now, how did you come about the title? So did you write the entire book first and then there was the title, or was
yeah,
there the title and then
no, I wrote the entire book first. And then I was like, what can I call it? And then my granddaughter looked at me and I was like, Katelyn's light. I was like, because I want her light to continue to shine. And she was like, that's good. And then when I put in the title into Chat GPT, and they was like, oh, that's an excellent title. And then they gave me the other stuff, a mother's journey through grief, love, and legacy. And I was like, yeah, because I did all that.
now tell me how or tell the audience how the chapters are laid out. Are they titled? Are they numbered? And how are we moving through this book? Are we moving from Catelyn's early years up into, or where are we going with that?
Well, the chapters, they are numbered, and they all have their own, specific titles. And it just, the beginning of the book, it basically, we just tells a little bit about Caitlyn and her siblings' love for her and her love for them. And then we go directly into the night that our whole lives changed.
And how many other siblings does she have?
She has two older sisters and a younger brother
Okay,
on
yeah.
my side. And then her dad has more. So she has, I want to say, she got a total of four sisters and two brothers.
So this is a great village. This
Yeah.
is a, this is somebody that was, very loved. This
Yeah.
is not this is not a case where this person did not have a village or, family. This was a tight knit family, right?
Yes. And out of all of her siblings, her brother took it the hardest because they were the closest. And he pretty much, to this day, he still blames himself because he said, if I would have went with her, maybe things would have been different. And I told him, I said, well, we couldn't go off the ifs or coulda, woulda, shouldas. I said, because it could have been both of y'all I was burying and not one. I said, so everything in life happens for a reason. I say, but we don't always understand the rhyme and reason of things. And I was like, I know my child's life wasn't supposed to end that way. But
Uh, let's talk about something in the Black community that we really feel is taboo, and I want to know if you guys participated in any type of therapy.
yes, my grandsons are still in therapy now. I just recently stopped because I went through three different therapists, and the last one I had, she moved. And I was like, I don't feel like going back, starting all over from the beginning. But my grandsons, they are still in therapy. They go twice a week, and it has helped them tremendously. Because my oldest grandson, he was 5 when it happened. And he went through so much with the schools because they didn't have nothing in place
Hmm.
for kids that's dealing with something this traumatic. They're they wanted me to send him to school after all the kids were gone. They wanted him to go for an hour after the fact. I said, no. I said, this is kindergarten. This is where you learn your social skills and all of that. I said, no. I said, that's not what we're doing. I'm not homebounding him. And then he goes for an hour and sit with a teacher and it's just him and that teacher. I said, no. I said, that's not helping him with his social skills. And then the principal at the school he was going to, she gonna tell me, until he's able to get his emotions under control. And I looked at that lady and I told her, excuse my language. I said, bitch, I'm 40 some years old and I can't get my emotions under control. I said, he lost his mother. I said, what are you talking about? And I looked at my fiance. I was like, get me out of here before I catch a case. I said, because I'm ready to snatch this woman across this desk. Because how do you sit here in my face and say some stupid stuff like that? And when I told that lady that, she turned so red, it was a white lady. I immediately went to the school board and had him transferred out of that school.
And for me, just like we were talking about in the pre-show, me and you, that place where you said they didn't have anything set up, right?
Yeah.
So, with my platform being geared towards all things political, that is the area that I would attack, right? Because we need something in place. And
Yeah.
even and if that's still not the case, I would want to work with you on getting something in place, right? For all the children, unfortunately, that may come after your grandson. If they don't have something, we need to press them to get something and press them to get training for the teachers as well. Because for me, they be doing all of these in services, but they never get trained on any type of mental health or counseling or how to deal with kids who are going through this experience, right? So that would be something I would want to propose to the board, the school board, and say, this is where you failed this family, and we don't need to fail another family. And so I'm very disappointed to hear that. But, you know, things still can be done. And I even think that something like that can be done through your foundation that you founded. You know, we can begin to write an ordinance or, you know, some type of resolution that the school board will pass in order to get that particular piece in place. Because, man, you know, that would have been awesome if they would have had it. It would have helped you and it would have helped them, you know, because you would know that they are getting the proper attention at school, you know, and then when you come home, you will have less to do really, you know, but you would do your part. I'm glad to know that they are getting some type of therapy. And so that, you know, that is a great thing. Um, in relation to this book, um, will there be another book?
I would say I just finished. It's like almost like a grief journal, but it's grieving the loss of a child reflection edition. So basically, I I talk a little bit about, different ways to grieve, or think different ways to handle what you're going through, and then it gives them options where they can jot down how they're feeling that day, and how what I said or what they read can help them with their situation. But I just haven't put it out there yet.
What are some of the things that you did?
I you know for the longest I was so angry. I sat down with my pastor and I told him that I was like, I'm angry. I was like, I am so angry. I said, I'm angry with God. I was like, because I know that's not how my daughter's story was supposed to end. And for the longest, I didn't go to church. Just recently rejoined a church, but I I just had to regroup myself. I couldn't really focus on me grieving because I was so worried about my grandsons, my son, her other siblings. I was more worried about everybody else as opposed to me, because I felt everybody was coming to me for the strength. So I journaled a lot, wrote down my journals. I cried in silence by myself when I was in the shower or whatever, because I didn't want to be my grandsons and them to be worried. And then I just put my all into her foundation.
Let me tell you, I'm smiling because I mean, the strength that you are exuding on this podcast right now is a beautiful thing. And let me tell you, my black is beautiful always. But what I would like to see is the journaling that you wrote turned into a book that says, Dear Caitlyn.
Mm,
Because, you know, sometimes people like us, we are always the strong people. Like you said, people are always coming to us, right?
yeah.
And sometimes other people need to see that it's okay for you not to be okay. And I think that those journal entries, as raw as they're going to be, are going to show people that it's okay not to be okay. And you don't have to take it out on other people, right? Put it in a journal, you know, release it to that paper and reread it if you have to, but release it somewhere, and just let people know it's okay to let those emotions out. I think as a Black community, that's why we are struggling so much with mental health, is because we are taught to keep so many things in. We are taught to just keep going and don't talk about it, right? We are always the people, we don't never want to talk about the problem, but we know the problem is there.
Right.
You when you go to the family dinners and you look at the person that's causing the most problem, you be like, somebody about to start to say something, and then here come auntie tapping them on the shoulder like, just just
Let it go.
just leave
Yeah.
it. Yeah, just leave. Like, why though? Why should we leave it alone? Because you need to get yourself in order. I feel like that would be a great way to show other mothers that they wasn't the only ones, that they not the only ones, right? They're not the only ones struggling. It's not a loud struggle, it's a quiet one, right? Because we do, as mothers, have to hold it together for our children. But when we get in our private space, like you said, in your shower, mine's is my closet. When my kid's father died, the way that he died and how he died, and my kids were so young, I never cried in front of them. I would go in my closet and I would shut the door. I mean, my closet is so far back in my room that, they would know. And they would never, if they saw my door shut, they would never come. They'd never come in here. And I would go in my closet and I shut the door and I would cry for hours. I wrote some things, I wrote some songs, I wrote some things, but I would cry for hours, right? And who do you tell that? Nobody wants to hear what you're going through. That's what it feels like, right? That's
Yeah.
what it feels like. But I feel like that book, man, I know it's some powerful stuff in that book. And lots of people too think that it's not like you should never be angry with God. Child, you don't worry about your conversations with God because He know who I am. Okay, because
Yeah.
baby, the way I will go in my secret closet and ask God what He thought He was thinking, that He didn't do that right, I
Yeah.
will tell Him. And that's your relationship with God. He understands. He knows. He knows why, because He sent His Son down here in flesh form to be able to experience what we're experiencing and tell Him what it was like. So you should be able to go in there in your secret closet, in your shower, or whatever you're doing, and talk to God how you talk to God. Okay? And I feel like that would give people a lot of relief. A lot of mothers would be like, wow, she went through exactly what I went through. But look at where she at now, though. Look at what she doing now. Everything is not great, but you're able to feel like you can live again, right? Talk to me. I want to hear about some of the emotions in the book. You know, um, that tell me about it, your favorite chapter in the book.
I think my favorite chapter is a chapter where I was posting on social media his picture constantly, posting his picture on social media. So to get his picture out there. So if people seen him, hey, he's wanted for murder. I kept posting it. I got secret inboxes from secret pages of people trying to justify what he did to my child. And I told them, you're just as much of a coward as he is because you're hiding behind a fake page. I said, so you're trying to justify her cussing him out to him shooting her. I said, it doesn't even out. I said, he could have hit her. He could have pushed her down. I said, yes, he might have got dealt with later on by her brother and them, but at the same time, my child would have still been here. So in that chapter, it just that yeah, I was furious and I was angry, and it just lit fire under me to keep going because for all I know, it could have been him behind that fake page. And I just had to let them know that you're not scaring me. I'm not easily scared. This is my child. I'm gonna have the last say so. They I posted their interactions that they said to me on Facebook. Then the page was deactivated. Yeah, I wasn't finna be punked. You're not finna silence me. My child's life needs to be justified.
Yeah, and I often, I have 3 children. I have an 18-year-old now, which Lord have mercy. I hope I don't look like I have an 18-year-old, but I do. And I am so protective of my children. And some man, because I started out dating here and I gave up because baby, listen, I don't play about my children, and I don't really play about me. There was a time that I just took anything, but that time is not now. That time is long gone because I can take care of me. So one time a man said to me, well, things are going to happen to them, in this world. And I said, of course they are. But let me tell you something. I birthed that child at 24 weeks. I spent 8 months by her bedside when she was in the NICU. And if anybody makes the decision that she will no longer be here, that decision will be mine. So if somebody do something to my child, I'm going to go crazy. Do you understand me? I don't care if it's your son I'm going crazy on. I'm going to go crazy on him. And people that do not have children don't understand that, right? Because there is no
Right.
sense of you made a whole life, right? You made a whole life. Without the mom and without the dad, it ain't no life. But you made one. And for somebody to disrespect that, oh yeah, I'm finna take your head off. So I'm serving notice. Anybody out here see me up here? You can tell them I did it. I ain't gonna hide behind no fake page, and I ain't running nowhere. You can tell them I did it, okay? And I'm gonna come after you ferociously, And I think that people forget that. People forget that. I think you even gave them a lot of grace when you said he could have pushed her. He could. No, you can't. See, the problem is we do not know how to resolve conflict. And what has happened is society has said that it's okay for men to be aggressive towards women, and that a no don't mean no. A no mean try to convince her. No. No means no. No means no, I'm not accepting your advances. You're not getting my phone number. Stop asking me. Because was that the conversation? If that was the conversation, you were still wrong. Because you still should have went about your business once she said no. But I feel like there is this sense of, nobody wants to step in. Everybody filming, looking for a viral moment instead of saying, yo, what is wrong with you, man? She said no, go on about your business. I know your ego might be hurt, but you're going to have to deal with that. So I commend you for standing up because, mothers don't feel any fear when it comes,
No.
I'm sure your fiance was like, girl, you crazy. Stop responding to these people. Right.
Yeah.
But that was not your first thought. Your first thought was to be like, who you talking to?
Yeah. My first thought was like, what?
Yeah, I'm old enough to be your mama.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I totally understand that. I would love to see that book. I would love to see, the evolution of Seniqueca Chase, right?
Ooh,
because it
you
has.
giving me some idea.
Yeah, because that's what we should do, right? They call me on this platform, they call me the super producer. But God has blessed me with a creative mind, right? So my mind go places that other people don't, right? But that's what I would love to see, that journal, Dear Caitlin. Then I would love to see the evolution of Seniqueca Chase, because now Seniqueca Chase has forever been changed, right? I'd love to hear about your journey from not going to church to going to church. What that looks like. And every step of your journey could be some sort of, self improvement book. That listen, every time you write, I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna be like, oh no, this is my girl right here. She get ready to write something deep. I know she is. Because life has changed her. Has grown her, has flowered her, right? I think that as Black women, we need to start celebrating us flowering, right? Because we bloom in all different types of ways. Flowers, they go back down in the ground and then they come back up. You got annuals and you got perennials, and at any time we are doing that. And that's something that now that we don't have to go through all this publishing stuff and we can just write and have it published. Yeah. Yeah, Queen, you need to write all of those, because it's gonna help someone, even people in your family, your daughters. They're gonna be like, "Mom, I didn't know this."
Yeah.
you know, and it's just gonna help them to be able to help someone else. But I would love to see all of those books. So, what's next steps? What is next steps for Katelyn Cares? What is next steps for your grandsons, yourself? What does that look like?
Well, the next step for Caitlin Cares, I'm actually trying to get like a storefront, because I want to have like the essential household items or things that if they need it, they're able to come and get it and don't have to worry about, okay, I need to wash clothes. I don't have no washing powder. Or um I got meat but no sides, or vice versa. I want to be able to step in and have those things there where they can come and they can like do a grocery shop but ain't got to pay for the stuff.
What is that? I mean, what is that? What is the name of this? I love this. I love this concept. I love this idea, right? I also love that you talk to the mothers, and for me, a space like that looks like a meeting space, right? It looks like a little internet cafe. Maybe I can come and I can have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and this might be my night out without my children, right? And I come and I get the washing powder, but I also meet up with other women who, are single moms. And maybe we
Yeah.
can share other things, right? Maybe it looks like a space for the single moms to be able to grow their little small business. Maybe they're thinking about starting the business. Maybe you can create some sort of community incubator, right? There's all
Yeah.
types of. I want you to start looking into grants. There's all types of youth grants for that. Okay, and you already have your 501c3, so you go and you can write the grant yourself. Don't be buying it. Don't be hiring these scammy grant writers. If you need my help, all you have to do, we sisters now, is reach out to me and we'll start it together. We'll start writing the grant and we'll put it together. If you tell me what you wanted to say, what you wanted to be about, then I'll refine the words, and we can get all of that turned in. But I think that sounds like a wonderful space, right? Little light R&B music, little 90s, little kickback. I'm sure Caitlyn was in the kickbacks, right?
Ooh,
She
child.
Okay, little kickback, light refreshments, and they can come in. Maybe it looks like something in one of those suites. Those hair salon suites. Not
Yeah.
all of them hold salons. You know that, right? Some of them hold businesses. Like people have their offices in them. So maybe it's something like that. And maybe they perchance could come in there and get their hair done. But you have a space where they can come and pick up their laundry. I want you to look into Sam's Club, Costco, and Myers, especially Myers. Because if you have a 501c3, you can walk right into the customer service desk and say, I have a 501c3, I have my papers here, and I want to know if I can get some donations in the vein of detergent or in the vein of toothpaste or in the vein of feminine products. And they will give it to you. Did you know that?
No.
I used to work there, and I used to see this one lady. She used to come in all the time. I never knew what she was doing. I was the IT person, and one day I asked, and they was like, "Oh, she got a nonprofit. She come in here and get donations every month." And they would bring out pallets. One time they had gave her 2 pallets of stuff. And
Oh,
so, Costco's the same way. I talked to the man on the phone, and he said, "You just need to." They got a website. You go on the website. You send up your 501c3 papers, and they connect you with the Costco that's closest to you. And then you go there and they give you what they have. So don't
okay.
think it's too daunting. It can be done. And I want you to do it because I want to see Katelyn's's kickback somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see that. And maybe it can evolve into spoken word night. You might need to do some fundraisers. So you can do, hey, $10 entry fee, come spoken word night, talent show, something. I mean,
Yeah.
I would come and I would host. I would come and just be there. Some days I would just be like, "Listen, honey, I just want to be here. Y'all have a good one. I'm finna sit here and enjoy my peace." You know? So I think, and I'm so glad that she can live on in that way. And you are doing a great job um, with keeping her memory and her name out there. And um, I'm so glad to now be a part of your journey in in helping you. If this platform can help you in any way, please reach out to me and let me know. And as soon as you say, "Hey, can you do this?" I'm like, when you need it, and I'm gonna be on it. And so y'all look out for Katelyn's's kickback. Please go and okay, because we speaking it into existence. We calling those
Speaking
things
it.
that are not as though they were, right? Y'all
Yes.
look out for Katelyn's's kickback. Y'all go and buy Katelyn's's light on Amazon right now. $20 will get you a paperback. $9.99 will get it for you downloaded on a Kindle. Please go and purchase the book and support this great mother and woman of God. And we looking for the next books. Dear Caitlyn, the evolution of Seniqueca. I mean, whatever it's gonna be, we looking for it. We looking for the next volumes to encourage our hearts and keep us moving where we gotta go. Okay. But y'all like, share, and subscribe this live. We are going to keep these Black author spotlights going. I know it's not drama. I know it's not the Real Housewives. I know it's not, you know, none of that, we're not calling nobody out their name. We're not talking about, I know that it's none of that, right? We need to start putting positive things into our community. And I feel like this Black author spotlight is one of them. Uh, last month, we had Roger Cook. I don't want to forget about his book, Parallel Rooms. It is an anthology of short stories, horror stories. They're really psychological horrors. And you can get his book on Amazon. Now we have Miss Seniqueca Chase and Katelyn's's Light. You can get that on Amazon. And we're going to go next month and we're going to have another author, if we can, on the platform. I'm not sure, that I'm going to be able to get every author that I want because you all know I'm facing a lot of pushback from our own community. Child, imagine that. Somebody look like you stopping you from helping your community. But it's what we do. So I'm going to reach out to the authors and ask them to come on. If not, we're still going to talk about their book because I ain't a hater. Okay. You can hate me, but you ain't getting no hate back. You ain't getting no hate back. Okay. So I'm still going to talk about the authors, even if they don't come on in the books, because I think that this is important. It is important that we get back to reading and stop letting people tell us stuff. Stop letting social media or the news or anybody tell us stuff, and let's get back to reading. Okay? Thank you guys for spending time. We right at the hour. We hit it. That's it. I'm gone. Y'all can now go and tune in to all of your Ratchet TV. Education time. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood is now closed. I mean, Miss Seniqueca, you gotta laugh to keep from crying. I'm not. I'm so serious. I mean, it's not like I'm up here running down black men or anything. But if I was, this chat will be up to 200 people. If I was up here doing it, which is crazy, it would be 200 people in this chat. But you know what? I'm okay with spreading light and love because that's what we should be doing. So listen, you 7 people, go out there and tear the world up. Y'all go and like, share, and subscribe to this video and buy this book, please. I'm asking you. I'm not asking you to donate to me. I'm asking you to purchase this book on behalf of Katelyn Golden, okay, and her mother, Seniqueca Chase. It is important that this story is read and told, okay? Have good conversations with your children and your family. One thing we don't ever have anymore is family time. Everybody is so into their phones or so into TV. When dinner time comes, everybody on the phone, or they looking at a TV, or they looking at an electronic device, and we are not talking to our children. That's why our children are out here straight acting like animals in a zoo or somebody that's in a circus, because we are not talking to them and teaching them. We are letting social media and the media teach them. We should be having conversations with our children. I know my children get sick of me, but I told them as long as they live in this house, don't bother me. You're going to be sick. You will be sick. If you was to meet my children, you'd be cracking up because they don't pay me no mind. They really don't, because they used to me, right? They used to me. But I tell them, okay, if you sick of me, you're gonna be sick. Just be sick. Go ahead, put your head down, but you're gonna listen. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna listen because you're gonna go out here. You're gonna do something productive in this world, and you're not gonna be harming other people's children. Because see, what people don't understand is that's somebody's daughter, sister, brother, uncle, cousin. We got to start thinking like that. We got to start thinking that this person across from me has somebody who loves them.
Yeah.
When we stop being emotional, when we start being emotionally detached from people in life, there's something wrong. And that comes from not having the interaction with your family. These things start at home. They don't start outside of the home. They start at home. That's why I'm very concerned about them not having any type of counseling service in her grandson's school. Because how can you not? You should have counselors in the school. What, did you get missed? Did you fall through the cracks? I mean, I don't know. You know, we need to get that figured out, because if we don't, that is what's causing these emotionally detached children that can beat on sick older adults and talk to adults crazy. When I drove the school bus, I'm telling you this again, I wish I would. That we have this policy that you cannot put your hands on the children when they ride the school bus, and the kids all know it. And they used to tell me, Miss Christmas, you can't put your hands on me. I say, I know I can't, but this broom can, and I'll beat you till they get here. And so and so we got to start teaching our children at home. We do. We have to start letting them know that we are going to be concerned and involved, and I'm watching what you're doing. And that's what's going to make the change. That's what's going to make the change. Those children probably, I'm not making excuses for the children that were in that situation where they were putting hands on an adult, but I can tell you right now, they probably have been left to their own devices and choices more times than not, because the parents are either working. Some parents just don't care. Some parents they love the street more than they love home. Some people just, the club is where they're going to be at. And somebody else raising their child, or the TV raising their child, or they with their cousins. They all right. We got to stop saying that too. Because nobody going to raise your kids like you raise your kids. Okay? So stop thinking that they all right because they with somebody else. That's not true. You should know what they're doing, when they're doing it, how they're doing it. But anywho, I know y'all get tired of me preaching at y'all. Y'all acting like my children because y'all didn't even want to come to this live. But that's okay. We'll be back on the drama next week. We got drama tomorrow. I'll be at the township, Thornton Township meeting tomorrow. I think they're having a special meeting. Even though it's cold, y'all don't really pay me no mind. I'll be traveling out there for y'all to catch the meeting because they record them, but they never post them. So I'll be live for you guys out at the township meeting tomorrow to see what's going on. Miss Seniqueca Chase, thank you so much for being with me. What up to the replay crew? Crew, like, share, and subscribe. Okay? You guys have a great night. Go and watch Ratchet TV for real this time. I'm out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.